Today I'm showing you a couple of different summer popsicle recipes, and these were all very inexpensive and very easy to do. It took about a day, and that's including freezing time, so the prep time was really short depending on which recipe. So I'm going to show you how I made each of these and then do a reveal on how they all turned out. The first recipe that we're doing is a coconut chia almond popsicle, and you just need 1 frozen banana, 1 can of coconut milk, 4 teaspoons of sweetener. I use coconut nectar, but you can use maple, agave, etc. And then you're going to blend those together. And then once that's done, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and then pour that into the mold that you're using. I also added some sliced almonds on the top of the popsicle so that once you're done with the popsicle, you have some almonds to snack on. And this is optional. You can even mix these into the popsicle if you'd like, but I liked having them on the outside. The next recipe is a berry coconut, and I use blackberries and blueberries, but just be careful because make sure that the blackberries that you use are really sweet, because sometimes they can add a bitterness if they're not ripe. And then I also added coconut yogurt and coconut nectar again for my sweetener, but you can use any sweetener that you'd like for this. And then you're going to blend that together and pour those into the molds. And I wanted to try some 2-layer versions and then some marbled versions. So what you can do is freeze the berry section by itself and then pour the coconut milk on top for the layered ones, or you can just marble them all. It's totally up to you. And then I'm going to freeze those overnight. This next recipe is a very simple one. It's just mangoes and coconut milk and sweetener. So I'm using coconut nectar again, and then these are just fresh mangoes. They're not frozen. I'm adding those into the bottom and then pouring the coconut milk and the sweetener on top of that. And you can mix them around more if you'd like, but I didn't mind them sinking toward the bottom. So I let all of these sit in the freezer overnight, and this is how they all turned out. One thing I do wish I had changed was making sure that the blackberries that I was using were sweet, because the ones that I had were a little bit tart, so it kind of messed up the flavor. The mango coconut was my favorite. The coconut chia almond was really good too, actually, just super simple. That basically concludes the first part of this video. So these were all good, but my favorite ones were the watermelon and the rocky road, so I'm going to show you how I made those next. So I'm just using 1/2 of a mini watermelon, not a regular size watermelon for this. And the key to this is making sure that the watermelon you choose is ripe. You want to look for a yellow side or a yellow spot on one of the sides of the watermelon. I'm also adding brown sugar and maple syrup to this to add to the sweetness, and then the juice of 1 lemon. So you're going to need seeds, and I'm using raisins. So what I did was freeze this mixture for a few hours, and then I pushed the raisins down into the mixture. You're going to have to break the ice, and that's okay, it'll refreeze, but that way the raisins will stay in position that you want it to be in and not just sink to the bottom. And then I'm going to throw those back into the freezer for a few hours. Now I'm doing the green layer, which is going to be the last layer, but I need to chill this before I add it on top of the popsicle. So I'm doing this now, and then I'm going to pop that into the fridge while I do the white layer. So it's just kiwis and maple syrup for my sweetener, and then I'm going to blend that up and then cover that and then stick it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. And now I'm doing the white layer, which is just coconut milk and maple syrup. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that I had way too much of the green mixture, so you can probably use just 1 kiwi and then the same amount of sweetener, because it was kind of tart toward the end, and then refrigerate that. But my leftovers that I have, I just froze them, and I'll add them to a smoothie later. But yeah, now you're going to put the white layer on and freeze that for 40 minutes, and then add on the kiwi mixture, and then just clean it up around the stick and around the sides. and then pop that into the freezer for another few hours or just leave it overnight. I saw other recipes where they were straining the seeds out of the kiwi mixture, which I thought was, just unnecessary, and I don't mind the way it looks. I think it looks cute, so I just left it. And finally, we're doing the Rocky Road recipe, which is the last one. I'm just taking some leftover baker's chocolate I had from a cake that I made, just 2 ounces, and then I'm melting that down. And you have to stay on top of this while it's melting on very low heat. Stir it the entire time so that it doesn't stick or burn. And then I'm taking half a bag of vegan marshmallows, and Trader Joe's does have a vegan version. It's just tapioca syrup, cane sugar, tapioca starch, carrageenan, and some other ingredients, but they're all vegan. There's no gelatin in them, and they have a consistency and a taste even better than regular marshmallows. The key to cutting these up is to get a little bowl of water and keep your fingertips nice and wet so that the marshmallows don't stick to your fingers as you're trying to cut them. And then I'm going to add some almond milk into the melted baker's chocolate and then whip that up so it's nice and smooth. And then I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, and I advise anytime that any of these recipes call for sweetener, I would definitely use maple because it's so strong. And then 2 tablespoons of coconut yogurt, and then half a pint of vanilla ice cream. So now what you're going to do is stir this into the baker's chocolate mixture until it's super smooth. And then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of cacao powder. Half a cup of almond milk. 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. And then you're going to add all of your toppings. So I had Rocky Road, I had almonds, of course, and then I added chocolate chips, and then the marshmallows. So basically, what you're going to do is pour them in either first, and then add the popsicle mixture on top, and then stir it around. It really, honestly, doesn't matter because you can, move it around as you need to with the popsicle sticks and let those freeze. And this is how they all turned out. The Rocky Road ones you want to run under water and then pull them out so they don't break. But it was so good. I can't really put it into words. That one was my favorite. The watermelon one is just as good as it looks. It's so cute. They came out so good. I would maybe add more raisins. Another option you can do for the seeds is boba, but I couldn't find any boba at the last minute, so I just used raisins and it turned out fine. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you try any of these and let me know how they turned out. And you can check out my Instagram and follow me there as well. It's the same, http.vegan with 2 V's. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.